So let's start on our feet. There we go. Okay. Coming to a comfortable standing position. And just take a moment to replant the feet a few times. Just get that sense of the ground beneath your feet. That's great. Good. Just ignore my squeaky floorboards. And then once you feel comfortable and supported, just come into stillness. Noticing the ground beneath your feet, the feeling, and the stability that comes from the feet up through the legs, hips, spine, shoulders, crown of the head, arms, hands, fingers relaxed. And then just noticing the breath. Starting to connect and drop into the rhythm of the breath. Meet the breath where it is right now. No need to change it or control it, just noticing. Breathing in, breathing out. And just using the breath to drop into your practice today. So we're using the breath to bring you into the present moment, the here and now, the feeling of your feet on the floor, the sensation of the body in space. Always we've got the breath to come back to. And then we'll start with our tapping. So let's tap from the thumb and working our way up the arm and into the shoulder. And then underneath the arm, all the way along to the heel of the hand and the little finger. Middle finger to shoulder second time around. Underneath the arm, all the way along, heel of the hand, little finger. And we'll take it to the other side. So just at your own pace, remember this is your practice. If you feel like you want to spend longer on any areas, feel free to do so. Keep the breath flowing. Middle finger to shoulder second time around. There's this tendency, isn't there, to hold the breath. Do you ever catch yourself holding the breath? So we're really using our practice to be aware of a constant flow of breath through the body. Let's release the head over to one side, cross the arm over the body, tapping just behind the ear and coming down the side of the neck and into the shoulder. All the way along and back up to just behind the ear. And we'll do that again one more time, down the side of the neck and into the shoulder. And all the way back up to just behind the ear. Taking it to the other side. And really getting a sense of what your body needs today. And it's interesting, isn't it, how our body needs changes so much, you know, on a day like today when it's so hot. The temperature affects the way the body feels, affects what we need from our practice. So perhaps approaching the practice in a different way today. You know, we're doing similar things every week, but you can approach them in a different way. Arm outstretched, supporting the elbow, reaching right back, depending on what your body needs. So when it's cold, I might move quite quickly through this, really getting the energy up. And today, maybe I'm going a bit slower. And then when you're ready, other side, arm outstretched, supporting the elbow so that you can reach right up and back. Upper back muscles, shoulder, back of the neck. And then bringing the fingertips up to the crown of the head. Wake up the crown. Get a sense of how tall you are. Lengthen through the spine and drop the chin to the chest. Work the fingertips all the way down the back of the head to find the dip at the nape of the neck. Work the fingertips into that dip as you look down. Keep tapping down the back of the neck as far as you can. Reach the elbows right up high. And then back up the neck and around to the sides of the ears. And covering the whole surface of the head, tapping across the whole surface. And over the forehead, tapping down the forehead, covering the surface gently. That's it, all the way down to that spot between the eyebrows. As we tap between the eyebrows, taking a deep inhale through the nose, long slow exhale through the mouth, like a sigh. Working the fingertips along the eyebrows to the temples and back into the midline. Gently over the eyelids, relaxing the eyes, clearing the eyes. Cheekbones, bridge of the nose out towards the ears as you hit the top of the cheekbones, taking another inhale through the nose, so an intentional inhale through the nose, and a long slow exhale through the mouth. Fingertips working down the face, top lip, bottom lip, along the jaw. Lifting the gaze, working the fingertips down the front of the neck to find the dip at the throat, working the fingertips into that dip. And finding the hollows underneath the collarbones, tapping into those hollows. Inhaling through the nose. Long, slow exhale through the mouth. Fingertips coming across the chest. That's great. One hand to the heart, one to the solar plexus, tapping up and down. So the solar plexus is that point where the ribs meet at the middle. Good. And around to the sides of the ribs. Into the sides of the ribs, up and underneath the arms. And the back of the ribs, find those kidney points. Good, and then starting to tap from the top of the right leg, up the right hand side of the stomach, the abdomen, across the top, down the left hand side, across the bottom. Circling around. Good. And then we'll take one hand over the other, smoothing and calming. And we're just listening to what our bodies are telling us. All these different parts, picking up that feedback. Let's work into the hips. What is going on with your body today? Front of the hips, these bony hip points here, and then down, you can work into the hip flexors, and around to the sides of the hips, and maybe you can find that indentation where the top of the thigh bone comes into the hip socket. And to the back of the hips, and the lower back, and all the way up the back, as far as you can go, and then coming back down, and we'll inhale as we reach the arms up. Stretch out the body, and exhale as we tap down into the thighs, the calves, and down over the feet and the toes. Lightly coming up the inside of the leg, up and over the pelvis. Front hip points again, and we'll do that again. Inhale, reach up, stretch out. Use the breath, and exhale as you tap down the thighs and the calves, all the way down, over the feet and the toes. Lightly tapping up the inside of the leg, up and over the pelvis. Good. And we'll smooth off the arms all the way to the fingers, fingertips. And shake out. Shake out the arms, hands, fingers. Shake out the thumbs. Good. Same with the legs, smoothing off the legs all the way to the toes. and shaking out. Hip, thigh, knee, calf, ankle, feet, toes. And again, other side when you're ready, shaking out. Feel free, you can hold on to something if that helps you to really work through the whole leg, shaking it all out. Good. Take the feet wide and we'll swing, twist. Arms moving freely. Noticing that cooling effect of the air moving across the skin. Noticing the feeling of the breath. And you can use your hands across your abdomen, your lower back as you twist. Across your chest and your mid-back. And you can take the hand all the way over the shoulder behind you, deepening that twist if it feels comfortable. And good in the neck. And then slowing it down. Coming to standstill, place the feet down carefully. Soften the knees, lift the crown of the head and close the eyes. Coming to stillness, stillness, following that movement and observing the effect on the body. Can you feel any of that energy that you just created? Perhaps a tingling in the fingertips or the palms of the hands. How does the breath feel now? And then softly blinking the eyes open. We're going to weight into the left foot and come up onto the right toes. If you want to position yourself so that you've got something to hold on to, because we're going to come onto one leg, feel free to do that. We're going to lift the right foot off the ground and just start to work into the ankle. So we're just circling around ankles. So do whatever you want to do with the hands. You can hold on to something, or you can put your hands to your hips. Chair, yeah, that's great. Circling, so we're just working into the ankle. Knees bent. Really exploring how much movement there is in the ankle one way and then take it in the other direction. So the more you slow it down, the more we get into all those crevices, those areas that perhaps we miss otherwise. Don't forget to breathe, keep the breath flowing. Good. Maybe a bit of cracking going on like in mine. And then we'll come to centre with the ankle and we're just going to bend, straighten and bend the knee. So as you do that, flex the foot and think about drawing the heel in towards your bum. So it's not a momentum movement, you're kind of intentionally pulling the heel in towards your bum, so you've got a bit of contraction going on in the leg there. Just slow. Good, one more. Great. Carefully place that foot down. Come up onto the left toe. Foot floats up off the ground. Hold on to something. Circle into the ankle. Keep following the breath. Take it in the other direction. Slow it down even more. Good. One more circle around. Get into a bit more area, a bit more movement. Good. Come back to centre of the ankle and bending and straightening the knee. So you might not have the knee as high, that's okay. But it's a contraction as you pull the heel in. Can you feel your leg working? Your hamstrings. Good. One more. Great. Place that foot carefully down. Plant the feet down. Let's start to circle around on the feet, really working into the sides of the feet, the front, the ball, the toes, the heel. So just circling around on the feet. A bit crunchy maybe. Take it in the other direction. Good. And coming back to centre, we're going to come into a little squat, okay? So imagine chair pose, but not quite so deep. And the feet are on the floor, so it's almost like you're sitting back into an imaginary chair. Can you see that? Spine's still long. Maybe you can feel that already in the ankles. Again, do whatever you want to do with the hands to feel balanced and supported. You can bring them out in front, that can be quite nice. And then we're going to again circle around the feet here. So the knees are bent now. So what we're doing is we're loading the ankles a little bit more now. You might feel that in the shins as well. Maybe even the hips. Mindful of the knees. Circle the other way. Don't forget to breathe. Good, so you can come even off the ball of the foot and the heel a little bit as you circle. So coming onto the heel, the side of the feet. Good. Have you done the other way? Go the other way if you haven't already. Couple more. Lovely. Okay. And then come to centre and straighten the legs back out. Okay, bring the feet together. Bring the hands to the knees. Again, you're sinking the hips back into an imaginary chair. Just circle here. Circle the knees around. Mindful, gentle, no force. So if there's any discomfort in the knee here, just leave it. Leave it. This is just movement we're doing here. We're not trying to strengthen or push or challenge ourselves. We're just exploring movement. Circling one way, circling the other. Take it in the other direction if you haven't already. Good. And then come back up to centre and straighten the legs. Step the right foot forwards. So right foot forwards, left foot behind. Just a step forwards, simple as that. We're just going to rock forwards and back. So rocking onto the balls of the feet and the toes and rocking back. So you're just shifting your weight forwards and back in space. Good. And then change over, left foot forwards. Just shifting the weight forwards and back. Forwards and back. Good. And come back to centre. Feet about hip distance apart now. Just circling the hips around. So you're just drawing a circle with these front bony hip points. Imagine that, just drawing a circle around. So you can make it small, you can make it bigger, more exaggerated. You can bring the thumbs into those dimples in the sacrum, where the sacrum and the hips meet. That's quite nice to just put some gentle pressure there with your thumbs as you circle around. And then take it in the other direction. Again, just exploring, how does it feel? How does it feel? Good. Come back to centre, place the feet about hip distance apart. Bring the hands together at the heart, connect the palms together and bring a little push into the hands. How does that feel? Loading the wrists. You're pushing into them, you're using the push to load your wrist and just seeing how that feels. So this is a good check-in. And if it feels wrong or painful, then ease off, ease off. Take it back to a point which is comfortable. So you might find that the hands don't want to come all the way down like this into a strong angle in the wrist. You might want to be more like here and pushing, and maybe that's more comfortable for you. So it's interesting to note these things. We're going to take the hands up, bring the elbows together, open the fingers out like the petals of a flower with the little finger and the thumb together still. So the elbows are lifting, fingers are spreading out, and then bring the hands down, press into the palms, right down so you stretch those fingers out. Good. And then open out, little fingers, elbows together. That's it. And then roll around, backs of the hands to come back to where you started. Good. I'm just going to have a look at you all. We're going to do that a couple more times. Okay, so up, elbows together, open out the fingers, but the little finger and the thumb are together, so it's like a bowl. And the more that you lift with the elbows together, the more you'll probably feel that across the back of the shoulders. Keep the spine long, back of the neck long. And then coming down, press, stretch the fingers out, good. Opening out and little fingers together, elbows together. That's it, and then rolling the backs of the hands together and around, and we come back to where we started. Great, we're going to do it one more time. Let's do it with the breath. Inhale up, elbows together, open out the fingers, stretch those fingers wide. Bring the hands down and together, press into the fingers. Good. As we inhale, we'll take it out. Little fingers together, elbows together, and as we exhale, we'll roll around, and we're just going to keep rolling around this time. Just keep rolling around the wrists. Just checking in that it's actually the wrists that are connected and not, sometimes we do the knuckles or the backs of the hands, and see if you can work at the wrist all the way around. Good. Lovely. Come back to centre, hands together. Find that comfortable position where you can press into the hands a little bit of pressure. And then we're going to roll the shoulders back and down and forwards and up and back and down. Finding our shoulder rotation. Forwards, up, back and down. Good. And then take it in the other direction. Back, up, forwards and down and back and up. So it's the shoulder blades that are sliding around. Shoulder blades, back, up, forwards, down. One more. Back up, forwards and down. Good. Release the hands to your sides. Take a moment in stillness. Find the breath. Drop into the breath. Find the movement with the breath. The inhale expanding, the exhale releasing. And we're going to use that breath, the movement from the breath, to guide the rest of our movement. Okay, so everything's going to begin from that breath, that subtle movement with the breath. As we inhale, can you feel the body expand? As you exhale, can you feel the body release? Chest, torso, lungs, rib cage, abdomen, shoulders, arms, what's moving? Start to bring the arms in. We're going to breathe in. We're just following that movement. So it doesn't need to look a particular way. You can even close your eyes. And it's just like you're following the movement of the breath with your hands. Following the expansion as you inhale. Following the release. The exhales are release. The arms release. Couple more. So you're mirroring that expansion and release with your arms. There's no way this needs to look. You're just intuitively expanding that movement. Good. And then we can make it bigger. So we're going to make it a bit more exaggerated. So the exhale is that release again. And the inhale is a expansion. And that can come into the spine even. And then the exhale is a release. And you can start to encompass the whole body, so legs, arms, spine, connective tissue, shoulders, fingers, expanding and releasing on your exhale. Let's do one more. Okay, let's take that all the way down. Release, 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 all the way down to the ground. Fingertips to the floor. Relax the back of the neck. And we're still following the breath. We're still following the expansion with the inhale, the release with the exhale. It's a constant thread that runs through the practice. Again, notice the subtle movement in the body as you breathe. So you're not directing the body to move. The body just is moving. So where is that movement taking place? Inhaling, the rib cage expands. Perhaps you feel a sense of the spine expanding without you really having to do anything. And as you exhale, perhaps you feel that sense of release in this new position now. One more. Following the inhale. Allowing the body to move, but you're not directing it. Move with the breath. Following the exhale. Good. I'm going to lightly step back to downwards facing dog. Just a light step back to downwards facing dog. We're not going to hold this for too long. We're just transitioning through. Plant the hands down a couple of times. Spread the fingers wide and then slowly start to lower the knees down to the ground. Slowly, slowly. So use this transition as part of your practice and lightly touch the knees down. Good. And we're in tabletop and we can stabilise this. Again, you might want to plant the hands down again. What we're looking for here, I'm looking for a part of the floor that isn't too squeaky. You're looking for stability in the upper body. So first of all, let's do this, right? So just totally now relax. Can you collapse into your shoulders? Can you just sort of sink down into your shoulders? Right? So it's like you're not doing anything right now. You let go of all effort. And then push the ground away. So can you feel how you engage the shoulders as you do that? So we don't want to be slumped like this into the shoulder. We want to use the power of the force through the hands, that grounding down, to give us the space in the shoulders, in the shoulder joint. So I hope that you felt that maybe. And feel free to just have a couple of goes. Like it's that slumping down and collapsing into the shoulder. And you can feel the hands kind of come off the ground and all my weight's gone into my wrists. And then if I push, spread the hands, push the ground away, suddenly I find the stability in the joint of the shoulder and the spine too. Okay, so from this place of stability, we're going to take the right leg out behind us, tuck the toe. We're going to circle and smush the foot against the ground. So we're doing this foot massage thing that we have done before, maybe you remember it. So you're just rolling around the ankle, rolling around, massaging into the foot, the toes. We're aiming to loosen up feet, ankles today. And then take that in the other direction. So you might get a bit of cracking going on, crunching. Use the floor to loosen up and release the feet and the toes. Good. Lovely. We'll do the other side. So switch over. Bring that knee to the floor. Stretch the left leg out. You've got stability in the upper back, the shoulders, hands, spine, all supporting you. And then you can massage into that foot. Side of the foot, front of the foot, ball of the foot, toes. And then take it in the other direction. If the wrists are too uncomfortable to have the weight on for this long, you can always come onto the balls, onto your fists, or roll up the top of your mat, so if that's uncomfortable in the wrists. Good, okay. Bring that knee to the ground. So starting to think about building up a little bit of intensity and challenging ourselves a little bit more. So we are going to be bringing weight into the shoulders and the wrists, being mindful of that. So if you need to support yourself in some way, feel free to roll up the top of your mat to do that. Bring the right leg out behind. Keep that stability in the upper back. Take the left leg out behind. And you're in plank, okay? I'm not going to make you hold it for ages yet. Bring the knees back down to the floor slowly and with control. One knee and then the other knee, and you're back in tabletop. So what's happening is nothing's moving in the top of the body. The shoulders, arms, hands, spine, all stable. All we're doing is straighten one leg, tuck the toe. Straighten the other leg, tuck the toe. Bend one knee, back to the ground. Bend the other knee, back to the ground. That's it. So let's just do that one more time. I'm going to come and watch you. Keep that spine nice and stable. So we're coming into a nice, that's it, great. Lovely. So do you notice how the hips don't then go up into the air, which is what they often do when we're coming into plank, because it makes it easier for us. That's the body compensates. Okay, so in tabletop, we're going to now come into the plank and hold it, okay? So find that plank, keep the hips down, that's it, and hold it, okay? Remember, you can always lightly touch the knees down, coming into a half plank, so you won't be coming back to tabletop, you're just lightly touching the knees down. Either hold your full plank or hold half plank, look slightly forward, shorten the belly, and just notice what comes up in the mind, okay? This is what's interesting in yoga. It's not fitness. What is your mind saying to you? Don't want to do it. It's too hard. Don't want to hold it. It's horrible. Just keep going a little bit longer. Couple more breaths. We'll do it together. Couple more breaths. Half plank or full plank. Good. Lightly touch the knees down if you haven't already. Slowly lower your body all the way down to the ground. Lower your body to the ground. Make a pillow for your head with your hands. And have a nice big sigh. It's over. So quickly. All that resistance is gone. All that mental resistance. Follow the breath as it returns to its natural rate. And then slowly bring the fingertips underneath the shoulders, forehead to the ground. The feet are lightly on the floor, hips are pressing down, those front hip points. And with the breath, use the breath to come into your cobra. So you're inhaling to lift and exhaling to release. So coming back to this idea of using the breath to guide the movement, that's great. Light fingertip touch on the ground. Wonderful. The inhale extends the spine and you lift, the lungs fill, ribcage expands. The exhale is a release. Good. Couple more times with the breath. And then bring the hands alongside you, back to the hands on the floor. Okay, actually tuck the hands underneath those bony hip points. Tuck your hands underneath those bony hip points at the front and press the hip points into the hands. Inhale into your low cobra and hold, so lift the chest, look forwards, and then lift the feet. And keep pressing into your hands or your thumb. You're just using that feedback to make sure that we're pressing the hips forwards into the ground And that gives us length in the lower back, rather than it all becoming a back bend, a lower back bend. We're trying to use this upper back, the upper back muscles, and also the hip muscles. So that's what's lifting the leg rather than the lower back. Good. And release. Bring your cheek to the mat. Just bend the arms, let the arms sink into the ground. You bring the other cheek to the mat. Sometimes you can notice that one side of the neck feels very different to the other. Good. And then bringing the forehead to the ground. Hands underneath the shoulders. And we're going to push back into our tabletop position. From tabletop, tuck the toes, lift the knees and the hips and find your downwards facing dog. Plant the hands, replant the hands a couple of times, replant the feet a couple of times. Find stability in the pose. Then bend the knees as much as you can while keeping the spine in the same position, long spine. So you might feel that again in the ankles, the lower leg. Okay, so we're going to start to walk the hands towards the feet, 1 inch at a time. And we're going to sink the hips back and down as we do that. So we're coming into a squat position. Now, just as much as is comfortable for you. So you might not come all the way down into this squat. That's it. So you might keep your hips high. Mum, you might not want to come all the way down. And then we're just walking forwards again. So just explore that moving forwards and back between downwards facing dog. You might want to take the feet wider this time. Maybe as wide as the mat. Again, walk the hands back. Plant them down intentionally. Explore how it feels to bend the knees more and sink the hips back, but just as much as is comfortable in your body, okay? And then walking forwards. Find your downwards facing dog. Last one. Walk the hands slowly back. And just hold wherever you are. So maybe your hips are quite high or maybe you're down in a squat and that's fine. You just hold where you are. Maybe if you're in a squat, you can take the hands off the ground comfortably. That's okay if you would like to do that. Or you can just be supporting yourself with your fingertips and that's okay too. Good. We're going to move from here between this point, wherever you are, and a forward fold. So all we do is lift the hips up and straighten the legs. Drop the head down. And exploring between those 2 points. Dropping the hips down as much as is comfortable. And then lifting them back up. So you're bending and straightening the knees and just exploring the range that works for you. And the heels may well come off the ground as you come down into your squat. You can play around with taking the feet even wider. Maybe if you do that, the heels stay on the floor. It's just something to play with, really. There's no right or wrong. Just seeing how it feels in your body. Moving between those 2 poses, forward fold and squat Malasana. Good. And we'll all meet in a forward fold. Okay, so we're going to come back to our forward fold. And just adjust that so that we feel comfortable. So you might want to bring the feet in a little. Take hold of either elbow and just hang like a rag doll. Maybe sigh it out. Breathe in through the nose. Sigh it out. So release. And then slowly, fingertips back down to the ground. We're just going to walk the hands forwards to come to downwards facing dog. Slowly drop the knees to the floor with control and make our way to seated. So coming to seated with the legs outstretched. Got a cat in the way of my where I normally put my computer. There we go. Okay. Let's bring the legs outstretched. Taking them wide-ish. And if you want to take a cushion underneath your sit bones, feel free to do that. That's it. Okay, flex the feet. Bring some activity to the feet. Great. Find that sense of the centre of the body, grounding down through the sit bones, whether that's you've lifted them a little on a cushion, perhaps. And then we're just going to let's turn towards the left leg first. So finding that twist in the upper body. I'll just slide the hands down the leg, and we're not really too worried about where they come to. Keep the right sit bone grounding down. Does it want to lift off the ground? That can be tempting, can't it? And just dropping back into the breath, back into the rhythm of the breath. Slowly we're going to tiptoe the fingers in a semicircle all the way around to the other leg, wherever the hands come to, doesn't really matter. Keep grounding down through the sit bones. Soften the back of the neck and the shoulders. That's it. Find that expansion, release with the breath. And then slowly slide the hands up that leg, the right leg. Okay, so we'll do that again. Slide the hands down the right leg, just to wherever they come to. Good. Tiptoe the fingertips in a semicircle. Slowly, take your time, enjoy the process. All the way to the left leg. And then slowly slide the hands up. Good, that leg. Okay, let's bring the feet, soles of the feet together, like we did last week, into Baddha Konasana. And just, you can flutter the legs here if that feels good. Good. And then we're going to do the same thing we did last week. So we're going to bring the right leg up and around behind us. Okay, so we come into this side seated position. Okay, we're not going to hold this for a long time, but just become aware of this back hip, how it feels. You might want to get rid of the cushion for a moment. Find the centre of your body. Notice how this feels for you in your hip. How easy is it to sit up? Good. This front knee, we're now going to, you might just want to watch first. So we're just going to start to lean over. I'm going to move onto the front of this back leg and pivot. Okay, so that the lower leg is coming diagonally across underneath me. So I'm coming into a pigeon pose now. Yeah, so you don't have to have this front leg parallel with the top of the mat. But see if you can get some equality in the hips. Okay, so it can be there can be a tendency to be rolling onto one hip or the other. Use your hands, so bring the weight into your hands, so your hands are supporting you, and then you can sort of like wiggle your hips a little bit. That's it. So you're on the knee, front of the knee, on the back leg and the front of the foot. That's it. And you're sort of, now the energy is going forwards over that front leg. So Mum, can you drop that hip down a bit more towards the ground? Do you remember, I think Miranda called this sleeping swan. Have you done that? No, you don't remember that? Okay. So see if you can drop your both hips towards the ground, or is that uncomfortable? Oh, it's not comfortable. Okay, I'm just reading your lips, hopefully, correctly. Do as much as you can. Okay. All right, good. So we're in this pigeon position, that's it, and you found some equality in the hips, and you've got your weight into your hands. Now come up onto the fingertips, so there's less, we're not dumping the weight into the hands, and see if you can get a sense of lengthening the spine. So be aware of any sort of kind of crunching in the lower back. So try to press both hips forwards to get that lower back long again, just like we did when we were on the ground doing Malasana, which is the one where we have the feet and the chest up. Good. Can you find that expansion and release with the breath in the body here as you come to stillness in this position in pigeon pose? Georgia, do you want to say something? Are you okay? Are you struggling? That's it. So what we'll do now is we'll move back the way we came. So this is quite good because it shows you that how similar this position, this side seated position is really, and is actually a very good alternative for pigeon if pigeon isn't something that is accessible to you or that you don't like. Like some people just don't like it, and that's fine too. It's quite strong. So you're getting the same rotation in the hip here in this position that you were doing in pigeon. You were just making it more exaggerated. Okay, so this is a perfectly good alternative if you want to stay like this. Let's come back to Baddha Konasana. So bring the soles of the feet back together. If you can do it no hands, great. Don't worry if you can't. Support yourself as much as you need to. And then we'll take it to the other side. So first step, take it into that side seated position. Good. Maybe you just want to hold this. So this is an option. This is enough maybe. And actually what can be really nice as an alternative to pigeon, if that didn't work for you, you can just come down in this position and just rest. And that's quite nice. Okay, so let's do either or of that. So you're either coming into your pigeon, plant the hands down, and you're sort of manoeuvring yourself over that front leg more, so you're bringing more weight into that hip, or just stay in the side seated position and make yourself comfortable there. Yes, because the hip is in the same shape, so you're still getting the benefits, similar benefits as this. It's just not quite as exaggerated. So there's always these options and layers that we can work through. Okay, so if you're in pigeon, you are supporting yourself on your hands, but come up onto your fingertips that's it, so that it makes it a little bit more active. Move the hips from side to side a little. Just notice whether you're leaning really into one side or the other, and see if you can find some equality in the hips. And you certainly don't have to be coming all the way down. There's no need for that unless you really like to do that. Actually, I quite like to just really get the length through the spine first. Really aware of the lower back. So use your hips, front hips pushing forwards to give you space in the lower back here. And then wherever you are, just dropping back into the breath. Using the breath, each exhale, just finding that sense of release, using it as a vehicle for continuing release and relaxation in the body. Good, and then we'll slowly Move back through that side seated pose. So you just roll onto this right hip here and then bend the knees in your back here. Great, and then we'll come back to Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together. So all these movements, transitions are part of the practice. You're strengthening joints each time. Let's flutter the knees again. Good. And then slowly let's make our way to lying. So bring the knees together, come down onto your back. And we'll just finish by making some of the same shapes that we made in our practice today, but lying down. So I always think it's interesting to explore these same shapes, but in different positions, and see how sometimes we can access them more easily. So let's start by bringing the knees into the chest and think about our squat here. And I do this quite a lot, probably. You're probably bored of it. But I like to find squat here on the ground, because it makes it accessible, perhaps more accessible. So think about how it would look if you were standing on the ground. Your feet would be really flexed, wouldn't they, to be standing on the floor. And your knees would be moving in towards your sort of armpits. Yeah, and the knees would be wide. So just exploring that and seeing what feels challenging and what feels comfortable, and how it feels different from what we were doing earlier. Good. And then we can maybe take the feet up. And if it feels good to take the outside edges of the feet, you can, coming into happy baby pose. Or you can keep holding behind the thighs, and that's okay too. So you just decide what version is right for you. So it's the same shape, isn't it? And you can rock from side to side and get that lovely massage across the sacrum. So across the lower back, that flat part of the lower back, as you rock from side to side. So you choose whether you feel comfortable holding the feet or not. Again, it's just a method of intensifying the same shape. So you're not missing out on anything if you don't take the feet. Good. And then slowly draw knees into chest, and let's just finish by circling the knees around, and again we're just massaging into that lower back area. Back of the hips, in any way that feels good and comfortable. And then you can slowly make your way to a comfortable lying position, ready for relaxation for Shavasana. I'm just making any final movements that you want to make before you come to stillness. Movement into stillness. Observing sensation in the body. Taking that time to really listen. And acknowledge, without any judgment or any need to get caught up in anything, just really observing, noticing with curiosity how the body feels, how the mind is, the quality of the mind. And you might notice the breath softening. And that same expansion and release becoming softer and smaller movement, more and more subtle. And perhaps you can get a sense of the body and the imprint of the body on the ground becoming just a little bigger. So it's like your body, allow the body to spread just a little more across the ground. You might notice with each gentle, steady breath, the body feels even heavier on the ground. And as the body becomes heavier, the mind can become light and can drift up and away, going wherever it wants to go. And you can just let it go. And then slowly drawing the awareness back to the sensation of the body on the ground and the sense of the space around you. Can you sense the space around you? The air on the skin. And then slowly bringing movement into the body, perhaps beginning with fingers and toes. When you're ready, taking a big stretch overhead. Take your time, as though waking from a restful sleep. And drawing the knees into the chest, hugging the knees in. And slowly rolling over onto your side. And making your way to seated. With the gaze soft or the eyes closed, let's bring the hands together again at the heart. Connect the palms together. Bringing the hands up between the eyes and folding forwards towards the mat. Thank you. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you.